All right, welcome in. We got two versions of the show. We got Hanna Time and we got Hanna Mancini. Mark Mancini's going to join in here in a few minutes for about a half an hour, but we got a lot to talk about in sports. So much. But I'm going to give you 30 seconds to kind of get warmed up, get your thoughts in about today in sports, what's on your mind. But in 30 seconds, right here, Global Sports Broadcasting Network, Cornelius Brad Hanna coming up next with Mancini. All right, welcome back in. Cornelius Brad Hanna right here on Global Sports Broadcasting Network. Big show for you. Lots to talk about. Let's see. Baseball, the global biggest world baseball classic finished up with, a very exciting finish for a lot of people. But what does it speak about America, USA, I should say, in baseball? Where does it stand? Did it help, you know, to like wake up some young kids and people to play baseball? Or was it just for entertainment and then we just move on? Baseball, the state of the game. How did it get affected by the World Baseball Classic itself? Also, Lamar Jackson, the big story today, a phony, fake, whoever it was, acting like an agent, not certified, and teams turned them away. But it does, what's going on with Lamar? We're going to talk about that a little bit too. DeAndre Hopkins, story popping lately. He puts out a weird tweet, Buffalo Soldier. What does that mean? What's going on? Can Buffalo pull this off? Who wants him? And let's see, NCAA March Madness. There's lots of great stories. And, of course, the great Sweet 16s coming up to see who gets to the Great Eight and then the Final Four in a couple of weeks. Very exciting with that. Some great storylines, like always, with the March Madness itself. And I got some great sports videos, too. But let's now dig in. We got our sponsors at the bottom of the screen. Follow along with them. And don't forget, we're on Roku TV, Facebook, ASAP Sports Network, also on YouTube, Instagram, Momentu TV Plus, Viva Network, and Tiki TV, Herigo TV, and LinkedIn and Twitch. Yes, we're on Twitch also. All right, let's do this. Let's bring in Mark Mancini at the top. And Madman itself, it's March Madness. This is your time of the month. It's madness with sports. How are you?
Man, I'll tell you, I'm blessed. The duel in the desert, baby. You're all over the place. We got the TV things. We're getting bright lights in big city. I know last week I missed it. You missed it. You were on vacation there doing a little traveling. Now we're on the same standard time in LA and Phoenix. So, man, there is a lot to talk about. The imposter that was trying to proclaim that he was the agent. This guy was trying to swindle some NFL team to giving him a boatload of money. He wasn't giving it to Lamar. Pride night in the NHL, the Stahl brothers didn't want to wear the jerseys against their beliefs, so there's a lot. I mean, hey, I called it. They might call me the world's worst handicapper. I went against the States. I said Japan is a tough team to beat. They play fundamental baseball.
Yeah.
And man, oh man, did they beat the Americans at their own game.
All right, let's talk about the WBC itself. I want to throw this out here. I'm going to put it on the screen real quick for you here and for people to look at it and watch a little bit. Should we stop calling our U.S. MLB championship the World Series, like the World Series, MLB, or do we just watch the real World Series on Tuesday night with Japan against USA? Now, there's some key words in there, or a key word in there, but what did we watch? Was it just a tournament and what is the real World Series, or can you read between the lines? I'm not going to give it away yet.
Well, I think what we basically saw here was we saw a sport that people get ready for in March, spring training, to maybe upstage March Madness. It's not going to take out the World Series. I mean, I saw Stephen A. Smith stand there and tell everybody that, it was one of the most epic battles, and the New York Daily News had it between Trout and Otani. I think
Wow.
that was good, but you're talking about an epic battle. The epic battle was in 1988 when Dennis Eckersley and Kirk Gibson went at it, where Gibson on a hobble foot must have fouled off about 15 pitches. I'm going to hold on to tradition. Yeah, I think that was the best battle, but to see Otani just blow Trout right down, I don't know if that's the case.
You're talking Trout itself. I got a lot to say about Mike Trout right now. And some people have talked about Trout and his greatness for what he has done with the Angels. But to me, he failed, not just in that one at bat. I mean, his numbers, he didn't show up on the big stage. He wasn't an MVP like Trey Turner. Trey Turner kicked his ass when it came to the, playing elite baseball in the biggest moment. And he had his chance, Mike Trout, and he was playing it. Yeah, he had a couple of hits here and there, but overall, Mike Trout failed. And
Well,
big question mark. He failed because when you want the big stage or you get to the big stage, the stars got to become stars on the big stage.
well,
You know what
what
I'm
I
saying?
saw with Trey Turner,
Stars to
and I
perform
and,
at the
and
highest level.
I yeah, and I will tell you this: the Dodgers are going to rue the day on two things that they let out of the bag, maybe a third one too. Cody Bellinger is going to come back to bite him in the ass. I think the Trey Turner not picking him up. I know he wanted to go back east, but I would have done whatever it took to keep him out here. I know the Padres and Angels were in the mix on that.
But Mark,
But
the World Baseball Classic, though, how does this, with Mike Trout itself,
well, Trout might be slipping a little, man. He might be slipping. I mean,
he's been beat up,
he didn't,
body.
he had a tough start with this whole thing. The United States, and when I watched it, I mean, I saw spurts with the United States. If you want to win this thing, you're going to have to bring guys like Justin Verlander in this thing. You're
There
going
you
to have
go.
to unload it with some guys like Max Scherzer, that type of firepower. And they had a great, pitching staff, but Nick Martinez wanted to go his own way when he wasn't,
hmm
getting a start. I would have loved to have been down there in Arizona and seen this. I mean, what was the surprising thing on these all the countries in there? It had to be what Mexico and Italy did. Nobody thought Mexico and Italy were going to. Italy went to the second round before Mike Piazza and company got dethroned by Japan. But I think you got to tip your hat. Japan ran through this thing roughshod, traveled all over the place, and still nobody pinned a loss on them.
When you look at the body of all the teams, the rosters, it's obvious that they try really hard to make sure that some American um, Major League Baseball players who have Japanese backgrounds, Mexican, I mean, there are guys who are from Cuba, but defected to Mexico and played for Mexico. I mean, so in a lot of ways, they did their best to make sure the talent level and the rosters were filled up pretty nicely. So that's okay. United States, folks, nothing to be upset about. You did not see the best United States baseball team. You got guys like Merrill who started the championship game. Like who and why? Because that's what the roster was, right? Adam Wainwright was your ace, and he throws 85, and somehow he was able to sneak by, the last opponent in the semifinals itself against,
Well, look at Mark DeRosa. I mean, the last time we had Tommy Lasorda, I believe, and Jimmy Leland leading the thing. What Mark DeRosa did, you got to tip your hat. I mean, here's a guy that worked, on the MLB channel, played 16 seasons in Major League Baseball. For him to surround himself with guys like Washington and Andy Pettit and some of
yeah,
these guys, I mean,
Ken Griffey Jr.
yeah, I mean, I thought it was just simply amazing. And, they praised Tim Anderson a lot. I like Tim
Mm.
Anderson, but
Yeah.
he didn't show me too much in the tournament either.
A lot of guys did not play well, and these weren't the best players that the United States can put out there 1 through 9 in the field, and a rotation of pitchers. Your bullpen wasn't much. You didn't have your best bullpen guys out there, right?
Well, I love my guy, Dave Bednar. I mean, Pittsburgh, he was lights out. I mean,
But then again, the United States lost by 1 run with a roster that had some big names to it. Only a few guys showed up, and played well at the, top level
Yeah, but
ball.
you got to tip your hat to Japan. They play fundamental baseball. You're watching them play. Who's laying down, trying to lay down a third time on a bunt with 2 strikes on them?
All
They
right.
get it down. Nothing rattled them. They weren't rattled. They came up. They beat Mexico, and then they keep the United States at bay and that pitching staff with Darvish going, and then Otani to shut the door down. I thought that was
Oh,
so
I
amazing.
thought when Darvish came in, the comeback was on. I thought he was going to throw some meatballs, and he did. He got one. Schwarber got one. Hey, look at this right here. So, way, 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 way back, the World Series in 1929. This is how people were watching or listening. People were standing by like a radio in a doorway of a store and standing there. These are listening to the 1929 World Series right there, and that's a long ways, but we've come a long ways to watch it. Right
Yep.
now, how many people watched? Oh, let me get that off the screen. I can tell you straight up there, 5 million people watched the World Baseball Classic championship game on Tuesday night. Okay, so the game itself, the reach, the outreach, everything else, the social media, it really did a great job.
It did.
But did it reach kids to want to play baseball? Is this helping? I see this, not a bad thing, right? But did it really affect them, or was it just another, swipe on your phone to watch something, or at home, or something, social media wise,
Well,
or and then you move on. That's kind of how it's been with sports in America over the last 5 years or so.
if you want to look at this as an exhibition and you want to compare it to the other sports, and I think the only other sport that really can compare this to would probably be hockey, because I think the football and basketball all-star games are complete jokes. And if this is looked at as an exhibition or whatever, I think it'd be hard pressed to beat what baseball put out there in the WBC.
I think it was a success for sure. It was entertaining, captivated us. As long as America was still there at the end, which it was, a lot of people were watching and talking about it. And you hit it on the head early on. March Madness was at an all-time high over the last weekend, the last week, first round of basketball. That was awesome, exciting, with all the upsets and things like that. The NFL free agency, the offseason stuff still captivates us. We had the hockey, we had the NBA stuff. There was a lot going on, but baseball, as much as you knock it down and hit it and act like it's something boring and hard to watch or whatever it is, still rose up and took the headlines once again. And the heartbeat of America, folks, no matter how much you say about the NFL, baseball has not dropped off that much, folks. It's right
No,
there.
yeah,
Right there.
and not
Right
only
there.
that, I think the added team in the National League. I mean, a lot of people aren't in favor of the interleague. I love the interleague. I love it where everybody plays each other now. I think what they looked at was they said, you know what, we don't need the Rockies and Diamondbacks playing 20 something times a year. Let's curb that. If you can't dictate your division playing an opponent in your division 14 times a year, then what are we going to do? We're going to kill a sport. Nobody, you're going to have more people, I think, even though your team might be out of it in late September. If the Yankees come to town and you're a team that might be 13 games out, yeah, there's no chance. But now that the Yankees are coming to town and they're going up for another World Series, your place is going to be jacked. But if you're a team that's 13 games out and you're playing another team in your division that's 40 games out, this is a snooze fest if you're asking me.
Fans don't like to hear this when I say this, but it's a fact in my world. Baseball always needs the Yankees to be at top, and when they get to the World Series, it elevates the game and interest. It's because it's the Yankees, and from way back, from the Babe Ruth days until now, love them or hate them. That's why people love them globally, but there's a lot of people who don't like them because they're the Yankees, and that's okay. That's sports, but it grabs you, and you want to watch them win or watch them lose. And if they're not in the World Series, baseball continues to kind of have a downside when the Yankees are not hot, dynasty-like championship run, right there, things like that. And if you look back on, how far has baseball come with its interest since the Jeter days, say, right? Prior to that, when baseball was in the 60s and Mantle and Maris kind of deflated, the run was over. The great Yankee Yogi runs were over. Then came a nice run by a Dodger team, a Detroit team, a St. Louis team, but baseball was fading and it was struggling into the early 70s. They had great teams. The Miracle Mets sparked people up. The Orioles were there. Like, they had some great teams, but why people weren't disinterested in baseball? They had the Red Machine, Cincinnati
Well,
Reds.
I mean, I've always said for me, um, the best era of baseball that I can go back to was the 70s. I think
And
you had everything there. You had crazy uniforms, you had mustaches, you had personalities, you had 6, 7 teams that were, that were dominating that decade.
yeah.
To me, the 70s, and if you sit down and talk to some of these guys, they'll tell you the same thing. You know,
And it escalated when it became Dodgers and Yankees in the late 70s. That's when it started to, it was the icing on the cake. And it rolled into the 80s beautifully.
yeah,
Both those teams stayed on it, and baseball managed to keep that going, But at the same time, you didn't have a villain anymore. The Yankees were done for like 17 years.
yeah, yeah.
Didn't have a villain. Now let's get to somebody else who's pretty much a villain right now. Is this guy right here, Mike Trout? All right, he already said. I already told him that he's coming back for the next World Baseball Classic itself. Okay, so Trout wants to come back. All right, that's nice. But after this matchup between his teammate, where he did not look good on it, and that's one at bat. Okay, in my eyes, Mark, Mike Trout has a big monkey on his back. And that all saying is you got to get that monkey off the back, meaning you got to succeed. You got to get to a championship. You got to perform at the highest level. And people got to stop talking about it, because right now that monkey it jumped on his back after that strikeout. Now there's a target. Now we'll watch him, and if he doesn't get to the playoffs again with the Angels, the excuse will be that Mike Trout doesn't play on a good baseball team. Okay? Well, he had a chance in the World Baseball Classic. He had a chance to rise up with some great talent around him, a great batting order around him. Right? He was surrounded by some nice players, but in the moment right there, he couldn't even tip a freaking ball.
Well,
I mean,
I was blessed enough to interview Perry Manassi and the GM of the Angels, and let me tell you something.
right.
People can, draw the line anywhere they want to. The Angels are going to have a better record than the Dodgers, and they went out. They got 2 of the best players in the game in Trout and Ohtani there. Just surrounding them with guys like Drury, Tyler Anderson they picked up, Urshela, Renfro. I'll tell you one thing. I mean, the Angels with Moreno are doing some wonders there. Now, granted,
Pitching.
they're in a tougher division than the Dodgers are. I mean, you got the Mariners that are coming on. The Astros are the defending World Series champs. Texas is going to be there. Only Oakland is the team. In the other division, you're going to have the Giants and Padres battling out. I think that, maybe the Diamondbacks get into this thing. I don't see the Dodgers doing much of anything. I really don't.
Yeah, we're going to get into them. Yeah, we're going to get into them for sure.
You could tell me, Mancini, you might be drinking and all that. I don't know what Kool-Aid everybody else is drinking, but this team has a lot of question marks, man, a lot of question marks. And when you have a team with a lot of question marks, hey, I'm telling you right now, my Pirates can have a better record than the Dodgers. I don't pay attention to the prognosticators. They never played the game. So, if somebody tells me, well, the Pirates are projected to win 67 games, I just start marking the wins every week and, start putting it up there, running the gamut. But
Sure. All right, so let's stay in baseball for a little bit longer here. And let's see here. What's going on in Philadelphia? The Phillies owner, John Middleton, reveals that why does he not want to win a World Series? It's kind of a strange comment, quote, whatever it was, and it kind of really bothered some Philly fans and things like that. And what he was trying to get to, He wants to win multiple World Series, but he didn't clarify as well.
Yeah.
This is not a good way to kind of come off and start your season. And today, Hoskins is out with a major knee injury for them. Philly's in trouble. But not only that, in Philadelphia, I've seen some sick things by Philly fans or Philadelphia fans.
Oh, I know where you're going.
I've seen them. I seen one dude on video eat horse manure after the Eagles won a Super Bowl. Like literally, I threw up watching YouTube. It's gross. I know Philly fans are pretty mental. All right, and then this happens. Philly fan recently here put two fingers down his throat and lunges forward and vomits on 11-year-old. And this, I guess, as a father, a Philly fan. What the freak's going? Like, come on, folks. I mean, Philly fans, are you pathetic?
Well,
where's the mental? Like, what's going on in Philadelphia?
Well,
that you got to throw up on people.
11-year-old. I've been doing radio out there now a year and a half. It's a very passionate fan base, and I'll tell you one thing. Somebody asked me not too long ago if I could play baseball in 5 cities, what would it be?
Right.
And I said, well, Pittsburgh and San Diego would be 1, 2. But the 3, 4, and 5 would be Philadelphia, Boston, and St. Louis. And they said, well, why Philly, not New York or Chicago or LA?
Right.
I just like the passion of that city. There's something about Philadelphia. And I should hate them like, LA hates San Francisco, but I don't know, man. There's just something there. They know sports in that city, and they're not afraid to let you know they know sports. Quite different than New York. LA is the most laid back sports town I've come as far as a big city goes. I will tell you that.
Hey, Mark, you talk about knowing sports, right? Yeah. So people like to bet on sports, okay? And they like to make bets, big bets, small bets, whatever. And I've done my share. But not the Final Four, the chase for the Final Four, right? Okay. I'll put this on the map real quick. Here's the map. This is the country. This is the United States representing all the 16 teams and things like that. Okay, let's get off the screen real quick. But I got a video for you. I want you to watch this. Okay, I got the photograph first. I'm going to set this up. Okay, there's a basketball game. Alabama just finishing up, toasting a team there, right? What is it? Texas, whatever. Texas A&M. Okay. Yeah. All right, whatever. Not the Texas A&M with the red and white. It's like some other small school, but it's from Texas. Okay. All right. The score is, it's like 12 seconds left. Okay. Literally 12 seconds left in the game. There's a point spread involved.
Well, I know where you're going to go with this.
This guy, watch the guy. Let me go back to the picture. I'm sorry. I got to go back to the photograph. Okay. Because I got to point him out for you real quick. Watch the guy right there in that hat right there. He's got the big bet. And all you hear in the video, if you can hear it properly, he's don't take the shot. Don't take the shot. So, the team from Texas in green playing Alabama is Alabama's covering the bet. They're covering it by over 2 points. Right? They got it covered. But the guy's got the ball for Texas, and he's going to shoot, Mark. He's going to shoot. And if it goes in, he loses his bet, and watch what happens, dude. It actually goes in. I got to tell you that because you got to watch it all. But watch what happens. Yeah, here we go. There it is. You think you know sports, right? Why bet on basketball when you know this happens probably like 8 out of 10 every game? Unbelievable. All right. So
in the parking lot with that guy trying to get out.
I mean, that happens often when you make a bet in basketball, and it's always that one little weak nonsense bucket that changes. We saw it a lot in NFL football too. Like,
I saw it. Believe it. I know how that guy feels. I saw it when my Pirates were one strike away from beating the Braves. I thought we were going to play Toronto
Oh yeah,
in the World Series,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
got a chance to interview Francisco Cabrera. And man, oh man, that guy had to be the most hated guy in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
All right. Let's stay on the NCAA. Okay, this is the region of the country, right? You
I
have
still got a
Alaska.
couple. I still got a couple teams hanging in this.
Well, those you got Connecticut, Michigan State, right? What else you got?
Everybody thinks I
Xavier,
hate. Everybody thinks I hate LA, but I got UCLA and I got San Diego State hanging.
San Diego State, right there. You got Louisville, no Arkansas,
UCLA's
Houston.
UCLA's playing now.
They got so if you can see the map,
Yeah,
only two states, right? Is that California has two teams in the San Diego
yeah,
State and UCLA. Florida has FAU, Florida Atlantic, and Miami in, right? And other than that, right, everybody else is representing a region, basically.
yeah.
But who do you see? I really believe Princeton is no pushover. I mean, they're no pushover. They got height, talent, and they can shoot, and they
I'll
play the
tell you
game.
one thing.
Do not. I mean,
Yeah.
if they get to the final eight or the grade eight, man, they're one of those teams. It'll be a great story. I like to
Well,
see it.
I've covered UCLA this year on a couple of occasions, and let me tell you, they play with a lot of heart. I mean, Hawkins
Well,
Jr.
they're good
Uh,
UCLA. They're a
yeah,
good team.
yeah, and I think the only thing that might kill UCLA is their coach that looks like he had 15 cups of coffee, Mick Cronin. But because sometimes he doesn't know how to substitute. But I will tell you this: third time Gonzaga and UCLA are meeting here. It's going to be
Mm,
interesting. But I think if UCLA gets past Gonzaga, which I think they can, uh, then they're going to get UConn.
yeah, tough
And
one.
UConn took out Arkansas, which I didn't think could, because Arkansas has that two good guards there. But the UConn men's basketball team, and I can go back to when it was the Big East with that whole
They
thing.
got some big dudes though. They got
Yeah,
a good front line. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting, but now that we know that everybody's picked who is going to win, all we got to do is play the game.
um,
But
Florida
watch out for
Atlantic.
San Diego State, man. I covered a
Well,
lot of Aztec games, and San Diego State's they're a dangerous squad, man.
Well, Florida Atlantic is like the San Diego State, doesn't get a lot of respect, but they're there. So just like Princeton. But this is Florida Atlantic's resume in the month of March. I'm going to read it to you. Okay. So, they slept, let's see, in their own beds only 3 times in the month of March so far. Right. So you're not home. They're on the road a lot. Right. They're 7-0 so far in the month of March. Okay. They won the USA tournament to get into the NCAA tournament. Right, they've won 2 games in the tournament so far. The big one here in the March Madness. Right, they beat a ranked team for the first time. They beat the AP number one. They beat the team that beat the number one team overall in the AP polling, and they beat the team that beat the number one seed 2 days prior. Like they're having a heck of a run, and even if they don't win, and they're a small team, that's
Well, I'll tell you,
what a
it's a little,
successful story from
it's a little train that could.
right. I
That's
remember
what
Florida Atlantic.
yeah.
I
I don't know how far they can go, but
Nah, it's over this weekend.
yeah,
It's over.
it's going to
It's
get
over.
interesting. Hey, look at Pitt. My Pitt team got beat by Xavier. Dick Williams once said, if you give a team in baseball an extra out, they're going to play 10 innings and you'll play 9.
Wow.
Same thing with Pitt. You can't miss, layups and 2-foot turnarounds on 6-7 times consecutively down the court when Xavier keeps missing, and you can't mount that into 14 points. You're done.
Right.
And that's
Hey,
what happened to Pitt.
Las Vegas. Las Vegas. This is just a little press conference for the West Regional area, Sin City itself. Once a town that with UNLV and Tartanian, and how the NCAA despised UNLV and despised anything
Yeah.
about Vegas and really stayed away from it. But now the sports world has all come to Vegas from all the major sports itself. In the Super Bowls next year, they're getting Grand Prix, they got NASCAR, and the NCAA tournament for the first time has arrived in Vegas this weekend. Has never been done before. Very exciting for the city of Las Vegas, but it's a great sports town. It's emerging, maybe the best sports town because of what it does.
Well, I'll tell you this: the NHL Players Association basically rated Vegas as the best off-day city to spend time in. New York was number 2, and Miami was number 3.
Wow. Miami,
So,
I can see. I can see Miami.
New York,
I can see
best time to spend an off day in New York, and then the number 1 was Vegas. And I haven't been up to Vegas there for a hockey game, and I thought I'd get up there this year. I got to get up there because I heard that whole presentation at T-Mobile Arena is something else.
Oh, it is. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I got hockey. I got something with hockey here. What the heck went wrong here? I got to show you something here. I got baseball. I got let's see here. I got a pillow fight. You want to see a pillow fight? This is an actual sport. I think you'll like this one. This is an actual sport. Pillow fighting. Inside of a ring, too. I don't think Vegas would care about this, but
wow.
All right. Well, I mean, people are coming up with anything. I showed you some wacky sports, but
hey, next week I'll be at WrestleMania, man.
Oh, you doing it?
Yeah, WrestleMania.
Who you go? Who you going up against? No, I'm okay.
No, I'm gonna be there Saturday night. They made it a 2-day event, so that should be interesting. But oh yeah, WrestleMania's the best.
All right, one more fight for you since you like hockey fights. All right. This is a minor league hockey game. I think it's like Dallas Stars minor league team against the Edmonton Oilers, probably, or maybe the Blackhawks. Here we go. Oh, where'd it go?
We're going to get a goalie fight in Cedar Park tonight. Here they go. Poirier and Askarov. Poirier with a couple of rights, and he takes him down. Drafted 174 picks after the first rounder. Poirier takes him to the ice as he has won the bout tonight.
I had to throw it in there. I know you got to get out of here.
I played hockey for 3 years. I still got my trophy somewhere around here. I had a goals against of 1.9. I was the most valuable player, on the Hornets, and we lost one game through the mid-season. I'll tell you, nobody wanted to dress with me because I was superstitious. If we were winning, I wasn't changing that shirt and washing it. And we won 7 in a row. We finally lost, and the team fell apart. A lot of finger pointing, but we recouped enough in the last 5 games to win the championship. But let me tell you, I never got in a fight with the other goalie. What I did was I got to know the linesman before the game, and anybody coming in that crease, I was Billy Smith, man. I was whacking them.
I started a brawl and I kind of
love my hockey.
I got upset with one guy who was cheap, dirty stick, whatever. And I got into it, but my teammates jumped in and before I knew it, I'm standing there watching everybody else fight and nobody was coming after me. And I just kind of all right, I'm out. It was really strange. I was all intense and emotional with this whole game. And all of a sudden my teammates were all brawling each other. I was like, thanks, dude.
Still, yeah. I was sharp on the glove, a little weak on the stick side. You're going to beat me. You have to beat me stick. Glove, I'd nail it.
I'll take you 5 hole, right. I'll do a Mike Bossy between your legs.
I'd come right out, a little blue. Hey, my Penguins need to win tonight. They're playing in Dallas, so they're trying to put the Panthers. 10 games to go after tonight. The Penguins got to get in there and take the Bruins out.
Hey, how much time you got left?
Couple minutes.
You good? A couple of minutes. All right. How about maybe the longest soccer goal in history?
Oh, yeah, baby.
All right. So a goalie.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the other goalie, what the heck was he doing? Right. This happens sometimes even in hockey.
He got turned around.
Watch this. Here we go. The audio is okay, but here we go.
Saca largo el portero, atención buscando a Castro, tiene que devolverse al golero, va a caer el gol de arco, gol.
All right. That
That dude was
Uh,
representing Colombia, or he's representing Brazil.
he may not be living right now if,
Yeah.
after that, if he's from Colombia.
Yeah.
That sad story. But all right, Mark, I know you got to get out of here. We're gonna give the old Mark Mancini
Hey, I
dance.
can't wait. I can't wait for next week. We'll play it longer, baby.
All right, here we go. That's the Mancini exit. But if you were the Arizona Wildcats a week ago, this is what happened to you. Yeah, I gotta throw that in there.
Where is Lute Olson when you need him? God rest.
Bobby Hurley, baby. All right.
Yeah.
Mark,
I
I know you gotta
brother.
go. I love you too. Mark Mancini's out. We'll see you next week. Have a good one, Mark.
Man, the duel in the desert, baby.
You got it. All right, Mancini, the madman himself, Hanna Mancini, little section there for you. But folks, let's get back into some other things as we're going to roll through it here. I got a lot more to show you. I got more videos. I'll even recap some more stuff too. But one of the stories that we heard today in the NFL is DeAndre Hopkins. It's gotten hotter and hotter. This is a prize type of wide receiver for anybody to upgrade their position and really elevate their offense. He's a great talent. Still, he's still in his prime, but more on the back end of his prime kind of stuff. But got a big contract. Cardinals looking to shop him. There's no reason to keep this guy around because of what? Cardinals not doing much for the next couple of years, probably, right? They got to figure this out, get it rebooted, rebuild quickly. And this guy is a perfect piece to trade away to build your roster through the draft. And the Cardinals looking for a particular trade. And the Buffalo Bills are a team that is heavy on this DeAndre Hopkins. And folks, as I leave the photograph on the screen, he did post out something today on Twitter, DeAndre Hopkins, Buffalo Soldier. So maybe he knows something, or is that a tease? Maybe just putting more pressure out there, or just maybe it's his time now after everybody has been signed and traded and things like that. It's D-Hop time, and things got to get going because we're about a month away from the draft, and you got to get things done before the draft if you want to trade people away. So the Cardinals' hands are being pushed a little bit. They got to get something done, and hopefully they can get enough back, like a second round would be great, and maybe a fifth or a sixth on top of it. But then again, there's that contract. The DeAndre Hopkins contract. Who wants to take that load off the Cardinals, and who wants to take that in? That is a big deal, folks. It is a really big deal if for a team to trade for. You get a great talent, but the cap and the money and everything else, and the Cardinals will get a big relief by trading him away for that purpose to help rebuild the Cardinals roster. And a team like Buffalo, who needs something big, because they've been so close, but yet so far to get over the hump, to get to a Super Bowl. And you almost feel like their clock is ticking away in Buffalo. So the DeAndre Hopkins situation is heated up. They got Baltimore and Kansas City, who they lost a couple of wide receivers in Kansas City. But are they willing to take on that contract? What can teams do to get rid of some money to get a contract and a player like DeAndre Hopkins? That's a big question. And that's probably why it's taking longer than normal, because it's got to be the right deal for everybody to be happy. It's got to be a win-win feel to it. And but time is ticking, and the Cardinals may have to push and pull the plug and the trigger on this one to get rid of him, basically, I should say. All right, so DeAndre Hopkins story is building up. Here's another guy, Aaron Rodgers. And so we've seen this before with older quarterbacks. Recently, Tom Brady, right? We saw Matt Ryan try it, but that wasn't successful. The Tom Brady was successful, leaving your team to go to another team. Peyton Manning left the Colts, went to the Broncos, and that was a big success, winning a Super Bowl, going to 2, right? They had the Kenny Stabler story from years ago. That didn't go well when he went to Houston, right? That had some success, but never getting to that elite status. You got Joe Montana in this category. about getting to Kansas City after the big run in San Francisco. So here is Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be in another city playing football. There is no way Green Bay keeps this guy, right? You basically told him and everybody else it's over, right? And you're asking for a number 1 pick. Green Bay, what the heck are you thinking here? I mean, you're really not going to get a number 1. If somebody gives you a number 1, God bless you, Green Bay. You stole this. You stole it. But nobody's going to. And the Jets are not going to give up a number 1 for this guy. The Jets are in the driver's seat. They're okay. The pressure's on Green Bay to get this guy out. And they can wait until like end of August to get this guy traded away. But who wants to wait that long? Green Bay needs to know what they're doing too. But when you're asking for a number 1 first round, not number 1, but a first round draft pick this year, or maybe next year, I don't know. Let me tell you something. You basically kicked Aaron Rodgers out the door. You don't want him. You don't believe in him anymore. Like all the above, but you're acting like he's a number 1 he's a first round draft pick. That doesn't make sense to me. So the Jets are laughing at this. It's like, whatever, dude. It's like, you got to figure this out. The Jets should not budge from that. If Green Bay gets that, great. Now maybe Green Bay's will give me a number 2. Now that's maybe okay. Aaron Rodgers, 39 years old, right? Remember, everybody was ripping on him. Green Bay wanted him out. Time was off, right? It was over. Aaron Rodgers wants out. I got some audio and some video on Aaron Rodgers. I want you to listen to this. I want you to listen to Aaron Rodgers, okay, on the McAfee Show, sports podcast, and he explains why it's over. It's over.
To announce, I'm retiring or I'm coming back or blah, blah, blah. This is more just to tell you exactly the state of affairs where we sit today on March 15th, because there have been a lot of changes. The history of this and kind of the timeline, which I think is important, that's why I'm going to go through it, is that in 2020, they drafted Jordan to replace me. There wasn't a replacement right away, but as is the case with the Packers and kind of the way they do things, they like to get rid of players like a year early instead of a year late in their mind. So there's probably some people who believe that I was a descending player and that it was time to make a change, even though we're just coming off the NFC Championship game, and obviously we got blown out by San Fran, but we had a 13-3 season and we're the number 2 seed and made it all the way to the NFC Championship. So they drafted a guy to replace me. Now, maybe not right away because there was nothing about trading in the immediate. But even farther back from that, you have to realize I was drafted in 2005 by Ted Thompson. The front office at that time looked a lot different. Front office consisted of Ted Thompson, John Schneider, who's now GM of Seattle, Reggie McKenzie, who went on to be GM of Oakland, John Dorsey, who went on to be GM of Cleveland, Elliott Wolf, who had been in front office for a number of years, whose dad obviously was an architect of the Packers, awesome guy. That was the front office of the Packers. So the front office now looks completely different. There's still obviously some scouts and different people that have been around for a while, but that was the guys who were there when I was drafted in 2005. Fast forward to 2020, when they drafted Jordan, there's none of those guys there. So this is a new regime. The president of the Packers in 2005 was Bob Harlan. Father of Kevin Harlan. Bob, legendary guy. I love Bob so much. I have so much love for him. And, obviously for the organization and for so many people that work in the organization, for the fan base. I mean, I love Green Bay. Like, that's always going to be home. But a lot of those people who were there in the beginning aren't there now. Again, a lot of my closest friends are still, the training room, Flea and Nate and Kurt and some of the old heads, and obviously the equipment room, what an incredible staff that is with Red and T-Bone and Brian Nearing and Odie and Kevin Nelson, who recently retired, but Kevin and Adam in the cafeteria and Doug Collins and Justin Crabb and all the awesome people that have been there forever. But a lot of people who were there in the beginning just aren't there as far as decision makers go. So when they drafted Jordan, this conversation would have happened a lot sooner had I not won back-to-back COVID MVPs.
And there you have it. They wanted him out a couple of years ago in Green Bay, and Aaron knew it too, and he just explained it to you. So it was already, Green Bay did this to Brett Favre, right? And Brett Favre kind of hung around and did some nice things with the Jets before he got injured, and the Jets kind of fell apart in that one year. Then he went to Minnesota, and he had the Vikings in the NFC Championship game, right? And lost that game on a bounty hit, basically, as you want to remember that one, recall that. But here's Aaron Rodgers pretty much living the Brett Favre experience. And ironically, it's the Jets that will be the team most likely going to grab him. And the Jets, just picked up another nice wide receiver from Kansas City, and they're stocking up big time in New York. I think Aaron would love to be there for what he says. It's a done deal in that aspect. He wants to be a Jet. But what's holding it up? The first round draft pick that the Packers are seeking. And the Jets are not doing that. So this is going to wait until the Packers come to terms with themselves. And remember this, there's no single ownership. The fans, the people own the board of Green Bay Packers, run that organization itself. So leadership could be a problem in this situation. Hopefully they can make a decision rather quickly. But this is one of the things that the Jets are doing. They just picked up McCall Hardman from the Chiefs. This guy's a speed demon. Nice hands, part of that nice run in Kansas City for a few years. But he is a good talent. He's now in New York, along with Lazard from Green Bay. The Jets are building up a nice wide receiver corp of players. And I think Aaron would like that very, very much. Jets also added more talent to them. Elijah Moore was traded away. The young receiver was traded away to Cleveland, and Jets are stacking up on draft picks. So there's a lot going on in New York to get ready for the Aaron Rodgers experience. So we look forward to that in the NFL too. It's another storyline that we're all looking forward to when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. Now, here's a story that I got to reach to you right now. The G spot. What is the G spot? I know what you're thinking, and you're awfully close or you're right on target. No pun intended. But Jimmy Garoppolo goes to Las Vegas in the Raiders. And there are particular people, women, they like this. And they want the G to stop at one of their places. Yes, indeed, folks. The old chicken ranch, the chickadee chick ranch. Yeah, they do the dirty, right? Want to give Garoppolo free everything. Come to the chicken ranch, no charges. It's free. Anytime you want to come up here and play with us. Yes, Las Vegas, full blown right there. The Garoppolo is getting the Vegas. He's getting Vegas size. Okay, that's my term. Vegas size Garoppolo. Yes, and that's one of the ladies there. Excited that Garoppolo is a Las Vegas Raider, and yes, they want their G spot from Garoppolo. All right. When you're talking sports in general about having a bad day, a bad game, right? And how do you move on to it, right? And I saw this quote from a very spiritual kind of guy. Okay, I'm going to put it on the screen. How to forget the past. And I thought, you know what? I want to show this, what athletes try to do, and some have mastered it, where they can just forget about their bad moment and get on to the next game and able to flip that switch. And some athletes can't do it. People in general have a hard time doing it. But if you can, you master something really well. Here it is. You cannot suffer the past or the future because they do not exist. What you are suffering is your memory. Yes, your memory. And your past. You cannot, folks, forget. You got to forget your past. You got to move. You got to live in that moment right now. That's the only thing that matters is what we are doing right now. Athletes who have, like Mike Trout, have to go through that. and they're professionals. They've been through so many failures that they have already adjusted to that. But some people can't adjust to it. And that is a great quote about how professional athletes have to perform each and every day, getting past a bad day, a bad game, bad performance, and having to get back out there and just forget about it. I thought that was really nice to share with you, and I hope you can look inside yourself and realize some of the things that you can do. All right, let's get back to baseball a little bit with the WBC stuff. And there's a couple of stories here. You know what? I'm going to go to a video story. All right, no, this is a story I want to show you right here. This is a nice one. This is a Cuban baseball player. He is defected the day after, the night he lost in the WBC. All right, he defected and stayed in America. Beautiful story. Did not want to go back to Cuba itself. This is common. I just wanted to put that out there. I don't know if people realize that happened. And why doesn't it happen more often? That's the other thing, right? Why doesn't it happen more often? Here's another one who defected from Cuba, ended up in Mexico. Okay. Randy Orozarena, who had a big moment for Mexico. And the reason why he played for Mexico, he's actually from Cuba, is that he defected to Mexico, and that became his new home, and he represents Mexico. I just didn't know if you knew that. Okay. But yeah, he speaks Espanol, so I guess that works, and that's fine too. But a little story bit there for you from the WBC itself. The other one that's coming out right now, and this is kind of bothering me a little bit too, because the baseball world and fans are looking at, we lost to Japan, and it's, how can we lose? We need our best players. Why didn't Aaron Judge play, and Stanton and Bryce Harper and all these great players? But nobody talked about pitching. The best pitchers in the world are right here in the United States, right? American born. There are great ones. They didn't perform. Did you see any of the top pitchers in the United States of America that play Major League Baseball play in the WBC? The best of the best. You did not. Big difference. Huge difference. Huge difference. The other countries played their best, had their best. And again, United States was able to get to the finals with good players and some great players, but most of them were hitters. Their pitching staff overall, the way I looked at it, was average for what they can put out there on the field, the United States, the USA. So if you want to look at it that way, stop blaming the other hitters. Don't blame the Aaron Judges of the world and the Bryce Harpers of the world, right? There are many other players that are American-born that did not perform and play in the WBC, that were hitters and played in the field. You had enough of those guys. But the pitching, if you watch the game on Tuesday night against Japan, folks, your first two pitchers wouldn't even start game one of a World Series or game two, depending on what the setup was, right? You wouldn't even think about that. The USA pitched two average pitchers, and they did not perform well, right? They gave up the runs. They gave up 3 runs, and everything else shut down when the bullpen got in play. So we got to look at it that way, right? Too many negative bombs are being thrown in the wrong direction. Okay. Now, one more thing about it, and then we're going to move on with the WBC itself. And I got to throw that. This is a stat for you, folks. Look at this. The United States on Tuesday night against Japan did not come through. Even with those hitters, 9 hits, 10 base runners, and only 2 runs were scored, and they were solo home runs versus Japan. That's not cutting it. These baseball players, the ones on the screen right there, Mookie Betts, Anderson, right? I mean, these guys are good. Goldschmidt played well. But a lot of them did not perform with the bat. And Mookie Betts hit into a double play. Mookie Betts was one of the most clutch hitters in the last 10 years, right? Postseason play. He choked. He hit into a double play. Everybody talks about the Mike Trout strikeout, but Mookie Betts right before that hits into a double play. Weak, soft, easy hop to the second baseman, easy toss to the shortstop, easy turn to double play, and that was it. They got Ohtani off the hook. Ohtani was in a struggle. Runner on first, no outs. Mookie Betts, like, this is a tough battle. Nah. Give Ohtani credit for getting out of that little mini jam and then striking out Trout, who has to show a lot. Mike Trout, folks, he's got a monkey on his back when it comes to big moments. He strikes out a lot. And great ball player, but you got to solidify yourself in big moments when it comes to any sport. And some of the great ones never get to do it or even perform well when they have the chance. And that sticks with you for a very long time. And right now, that sticks in a lot of people's mind is Mike Trout. It's not just a strikeout. That can happen. That's Ohtani, right? But it's throughout the whole entire WBC in big moments. Okay. Rising up to the occasion. Stars got to be stars. Okay. And it did not happen. All right. I got some video for you here. Okay. I'm going to stay. Let me show you this first. This is Frank Thomas, who a lot of people thought takes PEDs or took PEDs, but he's been pretty vocal about not and attacking other players. But he did attack Ivan Rodriguez, okay, and Jeff Bagwell and other players. And this is his quote. For whatever reason, PEDs is coming up again during the spring training of baseball. He said this: I've let a few people in already. We all know it's uncomfortable at this point. What he's talking about is exposing and talking about other players and how it's getting brushed under the carpet. The one thing about Frank Thomas, folks, as you see him on the screen, he's part of the Fox broadcast, right? Or for years, he was part of the baseball broadcast for Fox. And sitting right next to his right was David Ortiz, who's got it stamped all over his forehead that about him and PEDs, and he keeps denying it. I'm waiting for Frank Thomas to throw that name out there when his buddy is sitting right there on that set. And maybe he won't do it. And then there's Alex Rodriguez right next to him on the other side. Thank goodness for Fox Sports that they hired Derek Jeter to join that crew and give us some decency as I'm watching ball players who cheated the game on your set. All right, so let's take it off the screen. But sadly, Sammy Sosa. Look at this horrible transition. Sad, but Sammy Sosa is happy. He wants to be Michael Jackson or not, but look at the transition into a very. He bleached his skin, folks. There it is. I don't know what you call it, but Sammy Sosa's skin color transition over the last couple of years is a serious sign of self-hate, is what some people are saying. And it makes you wonder about Sammy Sosa's state of mind. He doesn't even want to live in this country. He was very famous back in '98 for the home run experience that he all gave us, but been busted with a baseball bat. Don't forget, Sammy Sosa also had a cork baseball bat and the PEDs. And that tarnished his image, embarrassed him, and mentally probably destroyed him in many different ways, and not happy with himself. It's a very sad story there. And but if he's happy now and moved on, I think it's fantastic for him to be able to do that. But just a wild transition from his color skin into a very Michael Jackson white look. Ugh. I don't know why people do that, but if you're not happy with yourself, people do some drastic things to their bodies to make themselves feel happy. But a lot of times it just don't look good. It just doesn't look right. All right. Let's get in some video here. I'll get back to it. Speaking of baseball and speaking of WBC and the global impact it had and here in the United States, I want you to watch this. Keep your eye on this catcher practicing in Dominican Republic. He's got 3 blocks of wood on his feet, under his feet, tied. He uses a cardboard catcher's glove. It's cardboard. It's not even a real catcher's glove. It's cardboard taped around his arm or wrist. And he's got a weight stringing down from his wrist, a weight to keep balance and mobility to catch. Watch this. Folks, this is determination. This is passion. I mean, just to get out of that neighborhood, that hood, that poverty, do anything. Do Americans, youth, parents feed this way to their kids? Do the inner city kids want to be great and get out? A lot of them do. But that video, it shows exactly how poverty pushes athletes to become athletes and professional athletes. That's an awesome cardboard. That reminds me of Mariano Rivera, whose first baseball glove was cardboard, just like this guy right here, catching fastballs. That's incredible. But God bless him too, and his motivation to make it to the Major League Baseball and make some money for his family and have a better life, for what you can witness right there in that video itself. But there's another story. As I took a big hit and big jab at American sports and baseball, and raising your kids to be baseball fans, but also baseball athletes and the whole bit. I love this story, and I really want you to watch this one for sure. This is a father giving his son a baseball bat, his personal baseball bat. It was his birthday, the boy's birthday. The boy cries. Can't believe he got a bat. He was so excited. It was like the greatest birthday gift ever when you watch this young boy, probably 12 years old. Then he goes out into the field that same day. He got it in the parking lot. He goes out and he hits a home run with that bat. And no, I'm not kidding you, folks. He hits the ball to his dad, who is sitting in like center field, and his dad catches the ball. You can't write up a script like that. Hollywood couldn't do that. Amazing. Here's the video.
Happy birthday. Don't cry. You're about to make me cry. Don't cry. Pull it out. Let the world see. I want to see some home runs. I love you. Don't cry. Let me see. Let me see you post up with it. How you gonna knock it out the ball? There you go. Right. Yup. Happy birthday. I got it! Yeah! Yeah!
Wow. If that doesn't get you emotional, woof. I watched that so many times. I just felt so much beautiful energy and just so happy. That's happiness. Oh, a father. Whew. I mean, how does God play in that? Amazing. I'm going to post that a little bit later for y'all to watch it more over and over again. But baseball, getting your first glove, getting your first bat, right? Your first baseball. I mean, it's an amazing, still to this day, baseball still brings it. And if we can reach more fans, more kids that way, what that dad did, and get his kid involved and have his kid that passionate about the sport, it's missing in a lot of areas around our country. But that alone needs to be shared so a lot of people can see it. Beautiful. One of the best stories, best videos I've seen in a very long time. I want to play it again. I really do. Maybe later on at the end of the show. But man, it gets to me every time. Your comments are important. I want to hear your comments itself. But I got a video here. I'm not quite sure which one this is. But let me just play it for you. I hope it's a clean video. I hope it's clean. But let me play it for you.
I just want to see your face. We all right? We grow up tonight, huh? We win
This is
thing.
Mike Tomlin. It's Mike Tomlin. All right. I didn't know what it was, but it's Mike Tomlin. Folks, when I watched this video, I fell in love with Mike Tomlin because this is the football coach I want to play for, right? This is, if you are not motivated for play for a guy like this, folks. Woof, watch it again. Watch it. He goes up to his team, his players, and looks them in the eyes. Wants to make sure they're ready. And then he says, "I want you. Time to grow up tonight. Time to grow up tonight." I love this. This is such powerful stuff, man. Man, you want to, and they won that night too.
I just want to see your face. We all right? We grow up tonight, huh? We win this damn game. We are living. I can be a Newport News with steel-toe boots on working in the shipyard. This is a grow-up moment right here for you young studs. Let's live.
Steelers show blitz. Carr steps up, throws it under duress, and it is intercepted.
Invite him down the middle and then get him. Yeah. We grew up tonight. We grew up tonight.
We grew up tonight, man. How many teams want that moment? And a matter of fact, I think this Pittsburgh Steelers team grew up that night at the end of the season, and a lot of excitement for them coming up in 2023 football season. If that team truly grew up, big things are ahead of them, and the Steel City is back in their football town too. But Mike Tomlin, love that, love seeing that, awesome stuff. Earlier today, I showed you a video. I'm going to show it again. NCAA, please, folks, make sure when you make a bet, you better be right. You better be right. Watch the gentleman on the screen. I played this earlier for Mancini, but I'm going to play it for you one more time. This is the Alabama game last week. Alabama was favored like, well, I don't know, I forget this, the spread. But they were beating the spread by 2 points with like 12 seconds to go. And the other team from Texas had the ball as the clock was running out, and the guy is dribbling around, but you can feel like the guy wants to shoot the ball. If he hits the three-pointer, they beat the spread, and Alabama loses the spread, right? Alabama don't care. But the guy in the video on the split screen, the bottom screen, is screaming, "Don't take the shot. Don't shoot it." Like, he's freaking. He has a big bet on it. Watch this video. This is that's why you don't want to bet on sports, folks. This stuff happens. A buzzer beater. Boom. Your big bet's over. Man, that guy walks out, everything. I don't know, man. That's a hard one to take, but man, that's the beauty and the beast. The beauty and the beast of betting sports, folks. You get those junk points at the end, man, and those hurt. Those hurt. I mean, Alabama had to blow them out, and they did. But when it comes to the point spread, it don't matter. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. All right. Let's see what we got here. Any more left? Pillow fighting. I'm going to show you one more time, folks. Do you think this is a real sport? It is. Yeah, I don't know what everybody's looking for. The oddest. I saw wrestling and basketball. There was no dribbling. It was like wrestling. They were wrestling each other, and there was no dribbling. Or you could have dribbled, but it was wrestling and basketball. That's pretty much how I sum it up. A little bit of down news. New York Knicks great legend Willis Reed. The legend, 80 years old, most famous for his 1969 walking out on was it 69? Yeah, coming out on basically like a broken leg, basically limping on the Game 7 against the Lakers, and they didn't know. Nobody knew he was coming out, and limps onto the floor before the game, takes the 2 first shots of the game, makes them both, and that's all he scored. But the Knicks go on to beat the Lakers in that NBA Finals. But the legend, the New York Knickerbocker himself, the captain, is gone. Yeah, 80 years old, and wow, that's a big piece of that history of the Knicks history, and a lot of people are talking about it. But all right, a story here in football. How the heck does Cam Newton think he's better than the 32 teams in the quarterbacks in the NFL? Look at this quote he had. This is his quote. Ain't 32 mother effers better than me. Guy was basically in the league and couldn't perform. I'm not quite sure if he knows how to throw a football still. If he's looking for a job as a backup, you may have a shot at that. But to say that you're better than the 32 other quarterbacks in the league, there's a couple of them I think, like Mahomes, right? I mean, like, let's start right there. Dude, you can't do anything compared to Mahomes did, right? All right, so Cam Newton trying to make a comeback and just throwing a lot of words out there, but man, just do it and see if it works, man. See if it works. All right, other news around sports itself. Let's see here. Here's something else too. Look at this photograph. Look at this photograph. Tell me what you see in this photograph that is a little bit unique, odd, and who really is wearing that number 3. Look at that. This is 1949, I believe it is. That is Joe DiMaggio, number 5. But there's a number 3 in the dugout. Do you know who wore number 3 for the New York Yankees? The Sultan of SWAT. The yeah, that's not the Bambino. That's not Babe Ruth itself. But yes, somebody else actually wore number 3 after the Bambino retired or was no longer a New York Yankee. Let's see here. Let me try to get that up to screen. There we go. A little froze up there. There we go. Okay. This kind of bounced off the screen for some reason there. All right. So we're rocking this down to the end of the show here, folks. I came out pretty heavy on a few things, and one of them still bothers me, and to this day it will continue to bother me, about the World Baseball Classic itself. If you're asking Major League Baseball players with $1 million contracts to represent your country, good. That's nice. But you did also see what happened during the World Baseball Classic. That should remind you that if you're a fan, let's say the New York Mets, and the number 1 bullpen relief pitcher, the closer, Edwin Diaz, is out for the year because of a celebration. The Mets season is they're scrambling to find some bullpen help. Maybe they can figure it out. But man, their odds just changed to win the World Series with that injury. So do you really want your best players? And if you're a team of whatever team you root for, when he leaves your team in spring training and goes and plays for the WBC and for the United States, I like it. But at the same time, do you think about, man, I hope he doesn't get hurt? Because I really would love to see him, like all year long, and we need him. We need it, like that's the part that sticks in my head. And is it worth it? Is it worth it? A lot of players did not show up, did not want to do it. The best pitchers in baseball did not perform and show up at the WBC for the United States. Why? Don't want to get hurt. Got a whole season ahead of us. A whole season of baseball. It's risky. The ownership doesn't want it. Protect my team. We got other things to do. It's a big deal, folks. A big deal. So what bothers me is do not be hard on these athletes. This is their livelihood. Yes, they got $1 million contract, but they also want to play baseball. And these guys want to win a World Series. Yes, there's only one World series. It's in Major League Baseball. The World Baseball Classic does not have a series. Just one game, winner take all. There's a big difference there, too. As we close out the show, I appreciate it, folks. A lot going on still around the sports world. A lot of stories to be unfolded as we get into the Sweet 16 of college basketball. Okay. Who do you have? Who do you pick? Just enjoy it, folks. There's going to be another upset this weekend. Okay. My underdog is, I want the underdogs. I want San Diego State. I want Florida Atlantic. I want Princeton. I want them all to win. Knock off. I just would love to see that. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens because college basketball, in the last few years, we've seen a big change when it comes to the underdog. In the talent level, the elite schools get all the publicity, but when it comes to the tournament, man, we all know what's going to happen. Somebody's getting knocked off, and not just one or two. That's number 1 seeds get knocked out in the first round, right? The number 2 seeds get knocked out, and then we got getting other. It's happening more and more, and don't be surprised if it happens again this weekend because it's been happening. There's a trend, and it's for real. It's not flukish. It's not, it's not the cardiac. It's not. This is real stuff, and it makes the March Madness that much more fun. All right, folks. As we're going to wrap it up, I appreciate your time once again here on Hanna Time, Global Sports Broadcasting Network. Cornelius, Brad, Hanna. We got to get out of here, but before we do, I want to see your comments. Like what you like to do, and I want to see what you got to say to me, as I got to open up and see what you got, folks. I got to see it. Oh, I got to see a lot of them. Kathy's in the house. Joel in the house. John Shears. How awesome is that to see? Christine Noel in the house. Hey, Christine. Steve Offer in the house. Isabel in the house from Tucson. Stephen Harris. Hey, Ralph, the madman. Ralph Williams. How you doing, Ralph? Casper Manfredi in the house. Hey, Casper. And Karen in the house. How you doing, guys? Appreciate it. Truly do. Thanks for coming in. I know there's more comments. I just haven't gotten to them all. I can tell. But I appreciate it. I just want to give you a shout out. And Rob, hey, choo-choo. It is Rob. I missed the segment on the NFL. Rugby and golf has been my Saturday. Mike Tomlin's face. You want me to do that again? All right, I'll play it again. We grow up tonight. Who was that? Nora Perez. Hey, all right. So Joel. All right, Joel. I'm going to play this for Joel since he brought it up. I'm going to play 2 more videos. I'm going to play the Mike Tomlin video. And I'm going to play that beautiful baseball video of that young 12-year-old getting his first baseball bat. Let's go Tomlin first. Mike Tomlin. Folks, just listen to it and admire this guy who motivates his ball players. This guy is awesome.
I just want to see your face. We all right? We grow up tonight, huh? We win this damn game. We are living. I can be a Newport News with steel-toe boots on working in the shipyard. This is a grow-up moment right here for you young studs. Let's live.
Steelers show blitz. Carr steps up, throws it under duress, and it is intercepted.
Invite him down the middle and then get him.
We grew up.
We grew up tonight.
I love that. That just gets me ready for football season. Seeing that. All right, here's the story. Here's the video of the day. For me right now, it's the video of the year. Once again, I'm going to play it for you, and then we got to get out of here. But I'll set it up for you one more time. Okay, it's a 12-year-old boy. 12-year-old boy getting a baseball bat from his dad right before his baseball game. The boy's crying. So happy. Got a baseball bat for his birthday. And his dad is awesome. And the boy hits a home run in that game on his birthday. But he hits it where his dad's sitting in the outfield in center field. He hits the ball and his dad catches it. You cannot write this script. Here it is one more time, folks. I'll keep quiet for you to watch. Here we go.
Happy birthday. cry. You about to make me cry. Don't cry. Pull it out. Let the world see it. I want to see some home runs. I love you. Don't cry. Let me see. Let me see you post up with it. How you gonna knock it out the ball? There you go. Right. Yup. Happy birthday. I got it! Yeah! Yeah! I'm twerking! I'm twerking! Yeah! Thank you! Thank you, boo!
That gets me, man. Every time I watch that, that just, man, that's a dad's dream. It's a boy's dream. It's a mama's dream. It's everything about that. And that's baseball, man. Love baseball. All right, folks, we are out of here. I thank you for joining me on this Hanna Time. Man, we ran at 90 minutes today, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Share the show if you can. Share it, and I appreciate it as we're out with some music. Got a big weekend of sports. It's spring. And yes, I got my beautiful plants. I got plants. I got food plants. I got fruit and vegetable plants. I got flowers growing. I got trees growing, like beautiful stuff. I'm so excited. I wet my plants. I said plants. All right, folks, we're out of here. Hanna Time, Global Sports Broadcasting Network. See you soon.